Hi, كيفنا? Good.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
everyone.
احكي right now.
Good.
Okay, I'm hoping يعلق, بس knowing my internet هيعلق. So, let's just hope it works. Welcome to today's session. Today's session is about teamwork fundamentals. And here we have the winning team from last year, team Misfits, who basically made What Remains of Ish. And we're going to chat with them, basically. It's going to be like a very fun chat about the way they work as a team and the things that make them, pretty successful in their own ways and the things that they could have done better, basically. So how are you guys? Good?
We're doing good.
Good.
How's everybody?
I think everybody in the
Awesome.
chat says
Okay.
that they speak as well. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Cool. That's great to hear. طيب, so I guess I'll start out with a few questions, just some basic things. I guess first of all, how did you guys decide to work together? Like, was it the fact that you have good chemistry, or is it because you guys have good skills that you can match up? Or كيف؟ خبرونا.
Well, I think Fuad and I have been talking about making a game together for a while.
Yeah, it was pretty easy for us because we already knew each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
Yeah, and Mika was always like we've all known each other for a while, and Mika was like a no-brainer for if we wanted to get somebody to sound design. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Fuad is our developer and designer. I'm an artist. I do the art and the assets and stuff. I'm also a designer, and we have Mika, who's our our sound designer and our composer, and he's been doing a great job. And this is how our team composition is mostly. And I think it's mostly, I don't know, we have good chemistry. We feel comfortable with
each other. We knew each other for a while.
Yeah.
So it was kind of easy to form the team. Yeah, don't really have any advice specifically for people who, I guess, for people who are trying to form teams with people that they don't know.
Yeah.
It's just just get to know people, right? Like be active on the Discord. Use it to meet and chat with people. And we're gonna have events.
Yeah.
And then on the Discord to basically icebreakers, so that people start talking to each other.
Yeah, help y'all get this started. Yeah. Anyway, I think the most important thing for if you're trying to build a team is to find people that you feel like even if you don't really know them yet, find people with who you feel like your ideas kind of vibe with each other, right? Your general the kind of people that you are vibe with each other and stuff, yeah. And that you're complementary to each other, because that's an important thing to have in a team, is that you fill the holes that other people, because none of us know how to do everything, obviously. But yeah,
a lot of honesty.
Talked a lot.
No, Adi, go on, Mika. Do you want to
say honesty and really just being transparent? You don't have to be on the exact same brain. Wow. Okay, for the word, on the exact same page as the people, but as long as you have the same ideology, the respect that you have within the team, and the honesty to just speak your mind and really just find a compromise. That's something that will work for both of you. Yeah. Extremely important. I truly think being completely honest is extremely important. I'm way too honest with my team.
Yeah, communication.
It's awesome.
You need to be super honest. You need to communicate. Really, communication is the most important thing when you're working in a team, because if you're having difficulties in an area, you need to communicate. Mm-hmm. If you're unsure about what to do. And we'll get to we're going to talk a bit about how to manage projects with multiple team members or hacker. But communication, it also is going to come down to communicating. So
yeah, very fair. And one thing I would like to add as well is when you're trying to find new teammates to work with, literally find people that you can befriend, and the people that you can be friends with are the people that you work with best. Is that you choose somebody to work on
100%.
The person you're working with is new to the field and you're also new to the field, then the chances of you knowing what you're doing is going to be a bit less, and your ego is going to come in play as well. So, versus at the professional level, you would be kind of working together with other people, and you already have a defined rank. So find people that you vibe with, just like what everybody else said. Just, wanted to add to that, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to also add, if you're working with friends or even strangers, try and like delineate who's responsible and in charge of what, because you are going to get into places where you don't necessarily agree with things. Like, for example, since I'm doing all the art, I kind of have final say on art direction and those kinds of things, because sometimes, my other team members might not necessarily fully agree with all the decisions, or we might like have some like disagreements and different like things where we have different opinions. But it's easier to like have everybody be in charge of a little thing that they can, be able to say, I have the last word on this. I will of course hear your opinion, but it's important to, delineate these things so that you don't come into a lot of conflict.
Yeah, check your ego at the door, basically.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, you're all working together as a team. You're not the boss of anybody, right? Like, everybody's here to work together, and
especially when you're Indian, you're doing this for free.
Yeah.
That's very true. No, that's 100% true. I mean, to be very fair, like every single person have their own specific set of skills of things that they've practiced for years and years and years. So if something, for example, including code, I'm not gonna go like, well, I know what to do. I'm just gonna go to Fuad. I'm like, hey, Foof, once again, I'm here in front of you, which actually happened like 10 minutes ago. Help. It's good. It's teamwork. It's all teamwork.
And actually, this was the next question I had for you guys. So as a team, how do you divide your work? How do you divide responsibilities? Who says who does what, basically? So like, how do you lead yourselves, and who takes charge of what?
Okay. Well,
go ahead.
We have Fuad is by far the most organized out of all of us, I would say. So Fuad kind of acts as our de facto like stay on track kind of person, which is really useful to have, honestly. And basically we talk about, what the next like direction we want to go in, what the next area, what the next milestones are for our game. And we are each in different we're each working on different like zones of the game. So we don't have that much of a problem delineating and stuff, But that's
no, you divide it based on people's sort of skill sets, right? Like Masan, for us, I take care of all the sort of like, level design and coding and whatnot, and Mika takes care of all the music and stuff. But there's areas where they're going to overlap, right? But basically, my advice would be have one person who the entire team basically trusts to manage the project, because especially if you're like more than like, if you're two people, if you're one person or two people, obviously it's a little easier. But if you're three with Talia, you need to have somebody who's in charge of basically keeping everybody on track. And there's a lot of tools that you can use to help with that. And
That's fair.
No, agreed.
Tools, like what kind of things do you use?
Well, we have some tools that we can share. Should we screen share from now?
Sure, as you'd like to. Well, when you open it, and I use at work, we use something called Trello. And Trello is imagine you have like a giant whiteboard and it's all sticky notes, and then you move a sticky note from one place to another when you start with the work, when you're working on it, and when you're done. It's actually a very useful tool, but I know there are others. Oh, you guys use Codex?
Yeah.
Codex is really fun.
This is Codex. We have Trello open here for anybody who wants to use Trello, but we personally use Codex. So don't have that much insight on Trello, honestly. But this is our Codex. And this is basically a card system where we use to like organize stuff. Like, for example, this is my art stuff. well, maybe we should look at Fuad's stuff because it's more organized.
No, look.
But it's basically a thing where we can each assign cards to each other, you know, like write different stuff. I would honestly strongly advise y'all to use this. It really helps.
Yeah.
And you can just like check out the stuff that you might have done. And did you want to say something?
Like Trello is very useful. Codex is made by game developers for game developers specifically, and it's designed in a way that's you know, it's like it has a lot of really a lot of useful functionalities. I mean, depending on your project, if it's a very small project, you can use Trello. You could use literally whatever thing is like you're comfortable with, basically your team is comfortable with.
Yeah.
We use Codex because we just really like it. Yeah, and you can see you have different sort of categories of things like code, art, music, and you have different priorities that you can set for your cards.
Yeah, you can say
so that everybody knows, okay, this is what I need to work on now. And you know, everybody can see what everybody else is working on, and you can set milestones. It's a very good. So tools like this and Trello, and there's like a billion other tools that you can find online, are very useful for like managing a project, like a game.
And another thing I really like about Codex, which I would like also suggest y'all do, is you have a way that you can tag your stuff, right? So like this is for the cave ruin area, and this is some landmarks. So I have the tags cave ruin and the tags landmarks. And you can just come in here to this like little window. You click on your project in the settings and you go project tags, and you can start just adding different tags. And that helps you keep everything organized in a way where, you know, I can just go and like be like, okay, I want to see what's, I don't know, what else do I have that's like landmarks, right? And I untagged it, my bad. But like you can always like click on stuff and like try and figure out what the different things are in the different tags, right? And like those are the landmark stuff that I have. They're all green here. And that is a really helpful thing, in my opinion, that I'd advise you use.
There's a lot of compared to Trello, I would say, at least from my knowledge, is like Codex. For one, I think it looks a little better. It looks fun. It looks kind of almost like a game, to a sense where it kind of increases the creativity. Again, use what works best for you, I would say. But I would say like the details that you have in Codex, for example, you can mark every single item, how important it is, how much work you have to put into it. There's a lot of stuff that you can put into it, and it's great.
For anybody who's sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sure.
No. I just want to send them the Codex link.
Do it. Go for it. For anybody who is not, you know, who's working with somebody they're very close to and don't want to use digital stuff, you can use papers and pens, you know, as long as you find a way to organize yourselves. The thing is, like Trello and Codex, like Codex is based on cards. You know, and when you finish a specific card, you put it in another deck. Trello is based off of sticky notes. And they're basically, you know, those like big walls with like notes on them all over. So basically they divide them into like parallel, is this a column? That's a column, yes. And, you know, when you're done with it, you just move it from one to another until you throw it into the done pile, and then that's it. But then you can literally do this with paper and pencil if you would like to. But, you know, these are just some of the tools that you can use to like, you know, help yourself stay organized, you know. That's the most important thing, basically. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly, Keaton. So there are different tools that are good and others that are not that good for you personally. So yeah, I've used Notion as well, Hadi. I use Notion for personal purposes, not for, you know, teamwork and stuff. I guess that's where it's a bit different. Cool. Oh, good. So many people use it. So you guys have a bit of an organizational vibe around you. That's good. All right. So yeah, go on, Sasha.
Some other advice that might seem very like obvious is do a Google Drive. For real, just do a Google Drive, organize it in a way that makes sense for you.
Or a Dropbox or whatever, like file management thing, really.
For sure. We have one here and we have all of our different stuff, you know, we have all the builds that we want to keep. We have like the sound stuff that Mika has, different assets, and those are also organized in their own way, you know? And like, it's really helpful because that means that we just end up, all the stuff are always shared. If somebody has a problem, we can recover things very easily. And of course, for recovery, we also have the GitHub that I don't know if we've gone over GitHub actually. I know Fuad went over it briefly, but we could go on a refresher if somebody needs it. But yeah, I would strongly advise to have that. That way, everybody has access to all the stuff that you do, and you know, you can keep yourself organized. And yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of basically like tools like Drive, GitHub, Dropbox. They're all very useful for keeping yourself organized and keeping everybody on the same page. I mean, I would say GitHub is basically mandatory, like for any project with more than one person. Even if you're only one person, it's just as a backup. It's a no-brainer. Like use GitHub, or like a GitHub adjacent thing.
100%. The first time
Lean, I see.
I was just hypercat.
Nothing, go ahead.
I wanted to add something as well. Fuad, how do you, this is very nerdy of me, but that's fine. How do you commit on GitHub? Do you have a specific amount?
I'm pretty bad at this part of it. It's a bit embarrassing. I try, like the smart thing to do is to commit frequently and with as small as possible changes, right? So that if you're like, so that just basically to like have like a very long, like to avoid bugs, because if you have like, if you commit 100+ changes, and in one of these little like things there's a bug, you have to like revert the whole thing or whatever. Like keep your commit small to basically leave for yourself the opportunity to revert stuff. And كمان I'm not very good at doing this, if you're working with multiple programmers, definitely get good at doing this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like the only one, I kind of let myself, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work for like a couple of days and then I'll commit everything by the end of the week.
Yeah.
It's fine, I trust myself to do that.
And me, Hamad, we have, if you look at our Git on our master, the last change was on December 1st.
Yeah, always have like a development branch.
Yeah.
And like it should be fine to just have like one branch that you commit to, and then just leaving the master for whenever you're 100% sure your everything is stable and you can like merge to it. Usually in software engineering, you would even like branch out of develop for when you're working on a specific feature, but if you're just like one or two programmers, it's not like super necessary.
Yeah. This is mostly for overlap and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
So you don't override what somebody else is doing.
Yeah, it's the same reason why you keep your commit small is just to avoid like pushing something on develop that is broken.
Yeah.
And like just keeping things, okay, you're working on this feature, make sure this feature is completely fully done and working, and then merging it with develop just to keep develop stable and to keep the master stable and all that. So there's a lot of like best practices for GitHub that I'm sure you can look up and find, and it's nobody's perfect at it. Like I got yelled at. My boss yelled at me a lot at work for basically not doing these things. You get used to it. I'm sure anybody who's worked in software engineering can relate, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time it was quite the nightmare, to be honest. I remember doing 1,000-something items at the same time, which apparently is something you should never do. But that's okay. So basically the way I commit as well is for any atomic change, it's something that I add. Yeah, an atomic change is anything that is the smallest part that you can commit independently to everything else. So like, let's say I changed a function that helps you jump. Okay, so the jump function is something by itself. I would make a commit for it by itself. Let's say I changed the way that I move or the way I interact with enemies. So this means I had to change the player script and the enemy script. So in this case, the atomic, quote unquote, atomic commit would include both of these commits, basically, both of these changes. Sorry, because I've broken the project more times than I would like to admit. So I've learned to commit frequently and often. Same thing. So
yeah. You get used to it. Like it's all about just basically you're gonna break your project. It's fine. It happens. Just make sure that you have a separate branch so that you don't like lose all your work. Sorry, Mika, you're next.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that committing is hard, but honestly, GitHub has been the most thing. I have only worked on some video games in my life, but starting with Ish and when Fahad showed me GitHub, I was flabbergasted. I was like, "Whoa, really? I can just press a button there," and it's so useful. Whether
you have the thing.
Yeah.
What?
No, go on. Sorry.
Just saying, it's so useful. Whether you're a musician, sound designer, artist, developer, whatever it is, anyone should use GitHub to just put into the master or the developer friend. It's great.
Yeah, that's a point, Kanan. Your entire team should know how to use GitHub, at least at a basic level, because like it shouldn't just be up to the developer to like be adding all the things to the project itself, right? Like if you can, your artist should be able to, add assets or like the animations or whatnot. Like even if the person doesn't use GitHub, they should probably still have an understanding of it. And there's also other stuff like people are saying in chat, you can collaborate. Like there's a lot of things you can use.
Yeah.
Plastic. Yeah.
And anyway, like this is also maybe kind of obvious, but everybody who's not the developer should also at least have a basic knowledge of how to use whatever engine you're using to make your game on. Because imagine if every time I want to test an asset, I have to go, "Hey, Foof, can you try to insert that for me?" Right? Like you should at least like kind of figure out how to do the basic things that, can help you make the work process go faster. Is this helpful for y'all? How are people finding it in the chat? Okay, awesome.
That's wonderful. Tayyip, speaking of, how do you guys like, who takes notes in meetings, or do you guys not take notes, or do you guys even meet? Well, how do you guys
meet? You've seen our meetings.
You've been to one of our meetings. We're very informal. I take a lot of notes.
Yeah,
I'm not organized, but I take a lot of notes. I make a lot of lists. And it really helps, honestly. Like I think that at the end of the day, we're going to talk about this later, but we have a pretty agile methodology system where we keep changing what's going on and stuff. So every time we keep checking in with each other on different things. So we just rediscuss stuff over and over. Like we make sure that we're still on the same page,
We try to have frequent meetings. I would advise like having a meeting a week at least.
Yeah, especially if you're working every week,
Yeah, it depends on your pace basically, but one meeting every week to get people on the same page for like, okay, this week this is the goal, and then a meeting at the end of the week to be like, okay, did we do that? Right. That's how you should do it. Again, no, we're not like
we're not perfect at it.
We're
obviously.
not perfect at it. And have somebody every week, like have the way we used to do it, at least at my old job, is like every week somebody
new takes notes.
So like it's not just the same person doing all the work. And take notes of like all the important action items or like tasks for this week. Because like when you're working on a game, the priorities are going to change a lot. So you want to stay on top of that. You want to be adaptable. You want to be just flexible, basically. words.
No, and basically try to keep each other updated on your progress all the time and stuff, right? That's basically it. And work together. I don't know.
You do want something concrete to go back to. Just responding to Karim. You do want something
Yes,
from
yes.
that perspective. And not all meetings
Yes.
are meant to be like an hour or 2 hours. Like you can have follow-ups once in a while, like just a little follow-up, just get the idea straight. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. Perfect, done. And in our meetings, they usually like last a long time because we also talk a lot of random stuff. But but yes, we got like things, and always at the end, it's good to have like a little resume, little conclusion. I'm like, all right, cool. So this happened. This was gonna happen. Now everyone has this fresh in their minds. And a lot of times also we message the group. We actually have a group, even though we just talk, just to make sure we have in writing to the group. It's very useful.
Yeah, send the notes and stuff. And like Karim said, ideally have a GDD. That's really important. We're not very consistent on our GDD, which isn't very good, but it's very useful. For those of you who don't know, a GDD is the game design document that you would use, where you have all your design decisions, all the different like features and like, different design decisions that you have made for your game.
Like Karim said, it's something concrete to go back to. It's something to like to make sure you're not like straying so far away. Like we said, we be flexible, but you need to like the game still needs to be like the game. It has. You should make sure that you don't like stray so far away that you're making a completely different thing, or adding like features that don't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing at the chat.
So you guys mentioned two important points. One of them is you said you use the agile methodology to work. Can you guys talk about that? And then I want to ask you guys about your GDD because I see the small tab open at the top. So if you guys,
we have our old GDD and our new GDD, but our new one isn't very up to date still, but we do. So we have a little PNG. It's maybe not the most thorough way to explain the different methodologies. Should we start with the GDD or this?
Let's start with this, I guess.
Okay. So there's two main, like not main, but like popular methods that are used in game development and in different developments. There's first off the waterfall methodology, which is basically, plan things out and like dominoes, things will fall into place where you keep working on things. And I don't know if I'm explaining it thoroughly. And you have the agile methodology where basically it's, things happen as you go, right?
Waterfall is sequential and kind of rigid. Basically, like you get you get all the requirements, and basically you just step by step you implement stuff, and basically the idea is you think things through fully and then you start implementing them. This I'm not sure. Maybe like big companies use waterfall and stuff, but it's not really like, I think agile is mainly the thing that's used in game development, especially in the game development, because you're never gonna think things are gonna pop up all the time. So agile is what you are going to need to use usually, which is always adapting, testing, sending out your demo, having people play it to get to get their feedback, to reorient yourself, and so on and so forth. And you keep doing that until the game is done, basically.
Mika, do you have
another?
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Go on.
No,
I was just gonna say, and playtesting is super important, and like don't hide your game from people. Don't be afraid that people are gonna like steal your idea or something, right? You just let people play it, because if you don't let people other than like the people making the game play it, you'll be surprised at how many things other people will uncover, because especially as a developer, you already know all the problems with the thing, so subconsciously you will be avoiding all the bugs and all the mistakes in your code or things, So you need to have other people play it. And if you can get people who usually don't play games to play it, Saraha, they are the best playtesters.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to also say about the agile is that, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of us are doing this, whether it's for the first time or the second time. Like, this is still a learning process for a lot of us, especially when you're a small team who doesn't have that much experience. So it's important to be flexible in general, because you're going to encounter a lot of bugs, and not just bugs, you're going to encounter a lot of things that you maybe didn't even think of. And it's important to stay open and stay like, don't get too attached to stuff. You know, a lot of things are going to change, which is why I personally, you know, I can't speak for other people, but I prefer working in an agile method at the moment. And yeah, I would advise noobs like me to do that too.
Yeah, Waterfall is more for like super organized big companies.
Yeah.
Which, no, in game development, it's kind of impossible. Like even the big people, you know, using agile methodology. And the key to agile is those meetings that you have, like I think that they're called like Scrum meetings. And
are they?
Yeah. But they're basically like, no, they're just meetings. I'm not gonna go into it because this whole thing is giving me flashbacks to my software engineering courses in university.
But
go on, Sasha.
No. I was just gonna say, Ash, do you have anything to add? And you started talking about yourself. So it's perfect.
No, it's all good. Yeah, what I wanted to say is, I feel like Waterfall is used more towards like projects where you can actually finish a step, whereas with any type of software, usually closer to like, oh yeah, we finished this, but we don't need it anymore, so we're throwing it away and starting over. And the thing is, you can do that, but you can't really do this with a building. You know, like you can't basically throw a building away and start building it from the start. So this is where like to a certain extent. Well, just like you guys said, I completely agree. And playtesting is the best method to like, make sure that you're iterating and reiterating to make sure that the thing works. Because the last thing you want to do is spend 3 years of your life working on a game that nobody wants to play because you never place tested with other people. So
for sure,
it's something I definitely agree is extremely important.
And when you play test, do a good survey. Do a like really good survey.
Yeah, have some way for people to get feedback.
Yeah, because if you don't, people are just going to say, oh, it's fun, or oh, it's not fun, and that's not useful for you.
Yeah.
Also, what's useful.
So things that are good for this is Google Forms, like have a survey on Google Forms, or like with any like other survey tool, really. And also like I think somebody else said it, come in the chat before, like Discord is a good thing, not only for like, for playtesting, but also for like building a community with around your game and stuff, which a lot of indie game developers do.
Sorry, we're talking a lot.
Sorry, yeah.
Mika, you had something to say?
I just want to mention one other element maybe is that playtesting also really builds the community that follows your game in a way, which is kind of like a bonus element. I mean, a lot of people who playtest, sometimes they message me and go like, so when are we getting a little update about the game, and when's the game coming? Like even my ex-roommate's parents came to me and were like, hey, my kids are waiting for the for the release. Like, where is it? When is it? So it really does help build the community. People have a little taste of it, and they feel part of it in a way. You're like, oh, well, I helped them with the feedback. I want to see what comes next, It'd be very useful.
Yeah. And people feel kind of responsible when they pointed something out to you and like you changed it or you fixed it affected the thing. They're like,
yeah.
It's nice.
So proud.
Yeah. People enjoy
for sure.
Enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
Enjoy breaking games. People enjoy breaking games.
Oh, I love seeing people break our game.
Maybe too much.
But yeah.
I completely agree. I think, one thing that's also important is to know which feedback to take and which feedback to throw away. Sometimes people might tell you, oh my gosh, this level was too easy. But what they meant is this was hard. So I'm not going to tell you that it was hard for me. I'm going to say that it was easy, obviously, So people could play a role to a certain
Yeah.
but and also just like you guys said, feedback, just like it was good or it was bad, doesn't give you any sort of information about it. So watching people play is extremely useful for one, because you get to see what they're thinking, where they're looking, what they're doing.
You see what confuses them and what works, basically.
Yeah.
And it's 100%. You need, like, first of all, like, if you're like playtesting and like you're watching somebody play your game, I'll link. There's an article that's really, really helpful. You need to know like what questions to ask them and like what to do. Like I'd recommend like not telling them anything, but yeah, like Asha was saying, it's don't take all the feedback at face value, because sometimes people will be like for like the opposite example, which is like oh, this is too hard. Like maybe you're making a game that's challenging and you want it to be hard, so that's actually good, right? But like maybe when they're saying it's too hard, maybe they don't mean that it's actually challenging. Maybe there's something in the mechanics that's is not good. Like maybe if you're like making a platform, or maybe the controls don't feel that like as nice as you think they do, right? Like you need to know. Sorry, I'll stop. You need to like Asha said, you need to know what feedback to take and throw away and basically ignore.
Go for it, Meek.
No, I just thought maybe we could. I want to raise my hand like to talk after you. So you want to continue your point? I just want to bounce off what you were saying. So continue, please. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm done rambling.
Sorry. Well, essentially, I just want to bounce off of both what Ashraf and Foof said, is that it's really good to separate what is constructive, objective criticism versus subjective and personal opinions. You go like, well, I don't like this enemy. I'm like, okay, but why? And they just say they don't like it, or like, oh, this map is not nice, or for example, this map, I don't like this map because it's too gray, for example. And sometimes it can be very useful. Like, okay, we didn't want it to be gray, so maybe we can adjust that in certain ways. But a lot of people, sometimes people are just gonna go like, I don't like this because, and that is just not very constructive. You can go like, maybe not. Okay, move on. That's all.
Is this feedback we got? Should I be worried?
Try to understand the basically the roots of the problem that's the feedback is like trying to, like if they say it's bad or whatever, something like people are not going to know a lot of the times unless you're working with like a professional like QA tester or something. They're not going to know how to what is the thing that is bad. You need to try and like understand that. That's half the battle, and asking the correct questions come in for feedback is important. Don't just ask people, is the game good? Ask them questions that will help you understand whether you're getting the design that you want, getting the feeling that you want through to the player, right? Like ask them, how would you describe this game to somebody else, right? That will help you understand if, okay, are they describing it the way that I want them to be describing it? Like, if it's a horror game, like would they just if they're describing it to other people as a very fun, like light, happy game, you're probably doing something wrong, right?
Well, that's very true. That's actually very smart, because you don't want to end closed-ended questions. You want to ask open-ended questions. You don't want them to have a specific answer in mind. You want them to elaborate on what they're saying. Like you don't want to say, oh, like which enemy did you prefer? They can just say, oh, wood mass, and there you go. But it's like, oh, like what are some of the characteristics you enjoyed from the enemies? Just open the question as much as you can. So that gives more room for them to go like, okay, this, that, and then that helps.
And try to like ask about what they found maybe frustrating and what they found like maybe like surprising or enjoyable. Like those are, because at the end of the day, those are like kind of like emotions, more than like objective things to say about your game, which is like something that you'd like to find out.
It'll help you also understand what people enjoy about the game versus what it'll help you orient the game. And it's important, kind of again going back to like the agile methodology and being adaptive, is sometimes the game, the fun will find itself. And there's like a really, really good GDC talk about this, which if you guys want, I'll link back then.
Yeah.
Which is basically about like finding the fun in your game as you're working on it.
100%. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you're gonna get a lot. Oh, we've said that already. You're gonna get a lot of conflicting feedback, so you have to be careful. And that's it.
Yeah. Maybe we should move on to the GDD.
Y'all want to talk about GDDs?
Yeah, let's go into that next.
Okay.
So, what is a GDD? That's the first question to ask.
Someone did ask the question before. Wait, let's see. But essentially, a GDD is like essentially just a. Oh, you guys want to go, please? Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go for it.
Well, it's basically just a game design document. That's what it stands for. Essentially, just put in perspective, it's kind of like a blueprint of how the game is, like what you draw from the game to blueprint it, essentially. They probably will have a better description than I will, but so go ahead.
No, I mean, that's basically it, right? It's like the different like design decisions that go into your game. And I believe this GDD is the first GDD we made.
Yeah.
It's the one that we submitted to the GA initially. Should we go through it? I don't know.
Yeah, we can go through it, kind of like highlight some of the points.
It's pretty bare bones. It was before we had fully developed the project, right? So this was like, but this is basically what like, it contains most of the things that you should have in a GDD.
Yeah, just as, sorry.
A template will be made available to you guys on the Discord at some point. And usually they're like, a lot of the times they're in text form. I personally like to have things in like presentation form. I think that it like is easy to have like pictures and stuff, but that's a personal preference, right? You don't have to do what I do, but yeah. And yeah. So this is our table of contents. Does this thing here block the view, or do you not see it at all?
No, we see the entire screen.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. So this is the different things we have, right? You start off with like a game analysis, a mission statement. You talk about who the people are on your team. And storyline, characters, gameplay, objective, rewards, I'm just reading things out, I'm sorry. This table of contents is basically the things that you're going to need, and if you want, we can go through them like individually.
Yeah, we can go through them quickly. Basically, the GDD is the reference for your game. Like it's where you put all of the design ideas, and you like talk about them in like as much detail as you can to just keep everything on track. Have a reference to constantly go back to when you're making like other design decisions. And it's basically, it's a living document. It should be updated all the time as you make changes to your game and whatnot. And yeah, like Sasha said, we did it as a form as in Google Slides, but typically it's done as a document. Yeah. So like there's no like one way to do it. I would recommend having comments still like a document.
Yeah.
But because we were presenting the game to the GA last year, we thought it would be better to have a more visual way of doing it. Which even if you're doing it in like Google Docs or something, have visuals, because have GIFs, have images, have concept art, anything you can throw that will help whoever is reading it understands like what this like mechanic is supposed to do, or what this character is supposed to look like, Anyway, let's go through it.
Yeah.
Basically, the way you can think of a GDD is as a document that whoever just joined your team or your job can take a look at it, find the parts that they're most interested in learning about, and actually understanding what you're trying to do. So talk about the game as a whole to like kind of explain, like this is our game, this is what we're doing. talk about the different ways of movement, talk about who you are, what you do, and what everybody else does to a certain extent, and basically just give us a very quick rundown on everything that you are going to do in this project and who's going to do it, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, Mimi.
Mhm.
So yeah, like here we have just the game analysis, which is just a very general overview of like the basically like a description of the game, like something that you would see on like a Steam page, right?
Yeah.
To basically get like, okay, this is what the game is about, right? A mission statement.
It's a short, like, elevator pitch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always make sure you have this around the beginning, in my opinion. I think like it's really good to have something that just puts people immediately in the mood, right? Like, gets your points across, talks about kind of like gets your theme and your like subjects and stuff.
This is it's a and keep it short, because keeping it short will force you to understand what is important to you about the game.
Yeah.
Right. And it will
for
help,
sure.
like, because that's what's important at the end of the day, right? When you're showing this game to somebody, we want to describe it in as small words as possible to convey as much or the most important aspect of it.
And I see in the chat somebody's surprised that the GDD is like not ours, but the one that Mika has sent is very long. That's normal because this is a GDD. Like, again, ours is something that we had done 2 weeks after coming up with the concept, I believe. So this is very bare bones. It's very early, but like game design documents, typically they include every design decision that goes into it, right? So this is something that you're supposed to continually update, right? We're not very good at doing this, but we should be. And the more you progress, the longer your GDD gets, as Mika just said.
And the bigger the game, the more, like the more complicated and complex the system in the games are, the more you're going to have to describe them. So it just depends, right? Like,
so obviously you have a team introduction section. This is us, our little team, with like the different infos that come with us. And here we start talking about our storyline and characters. Very important. Obviously, this is basically the core, like not the core, but like a very important part of your game. This is something important to do, is talk about the gameplay that you want to present, the pillars of your game, right? Like, what is the thing that you're prioritizing? Are you prioritizing like combat or like story narrative, or like what kind of game are you trying to make? Is this a puzzle? You have to talk about what the game loop is, meaning like what is the things that you're going to have to do. Like for us, our game loop includes like platforming, combat, and exploration. Those are the, like, platforming will lead you to like is exploration, and will lead you to combat, which will lead you to more exploration, and so on and so forth, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think objective and rewards. Yeah, here just like on here, we just go into more detail. Like, talk about everything in detail.
Yeah.
Like, even if you think, oh, it's obvious, it's not. You put it to words so that everybody stays on the same page, basically.
Yeah.
So we were just
talking about
it's just a more elaborating on like the gameplay and how everything works.
Yeah.
Base mechanics,
combat mechanics,
going into more detail about the specific mechanics. This is like an early version. We have like a bit more.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit, but we don't have to.
Here we like go into super specifics about like our core mechanic, which is the one like you see like down to like what the input is and what the features are. Like how it works on a like very micro level, which is important when you have like. Sure, like the platforming, it's basically it's very much like a thing that's understood how it works. But like when you have a mechanic that's sort of unique, you need to really explain it, especially if you're showing the GDD to somebody else that's is not, it doesn't understand how it works. They need to like.
And if you ever get like a new member to your team, have them read the GDD.
Here we have like some gifs of how like, my God, this is so.
Yeah, this is very old. We didn't even have any assets back then, but yeah, this is.
We gifs, screenshots, concept art, literally anything you can show of your game. Do it because it will help you
get your point across.
Yeah. And doubly, like if you're submitting a thing for the Gaming Academy,
if you have a demo, please include some gifs in your GDD.
Yeah.
And send us the demo too. And yeah, this is more about the boomerang.
More gameplay, going more into like we're talking about like how the level design works,
map concept and stuff.
Yeah, we can just we were just talk about like the controls, project timeline. Okay, this is like
this is a batshit insane. Sorry, I shouldn't curse. This is an insane project timeline we had set for ourselves. That we had absolutely no. We were way overly ambitious. We thought that we would be able to finish a lot more, but that was not possible.
Yeah, scheduling is difficult.
Yeah,
and like the way I would just advise people to schedule, because like when we started out, we didn't really know how to do it.
Yeah,
a lot of it is guesswork. Like you see, like we try to break it down to like the smallest components of what is the work that we need to do to get to the point that we want to finish it basically. So break it down into like the smallest components, try to guess how much work you might need for this, and then like whatever number you come up with times 2.
Yeah, and
because you'll never like reach.
If I can compare this to the project timeline we have on our pitch deck, which is, do we mind showing this?
Sure.
Like this is a much more like detailed and sensible pitch that we have, right? Like not pitch, but like a roadmap that makes a lot more sense. That brings in the things that this is, sorry, I'm rambling. This is like us with more like
having worked more on the game and knowing more, okay, this is how much time we need.
Having reined in our expectations and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to the other. Sorry.
We كمان working على the gaming academy was because we gave you guys a 6-month deadline as well. So you had to finish something that made sense by then, basically. And you guys did succeed.
Yeah, but like we had planned. See, this was kind of crazy. We planned to make 4 areas in 6 months. We still don't have 4 areas. We still don't have 4 areas. We have one area and a half. We've been working as best we can.
Yeah, you're always going to underestimate the time that you need. Yeah. So because Kaman, like for us, the situation here, kept getting worse. Things in your life outside of like the development will come up. People will get sick.
The electricity will go out all the time. That's a Lebanon specific issue.
Unless you don't live here. So like like plan for the worst case, which is why I said like times 2, times 3 if you like just don't whatever number you think, just always plan for the worst.
Yeah. Oh, this is how we had divided tasks. This doesn't make sense, but you should say how you divide tasks in your actual pitch. In your GDD and your pitch and all of the things. Sorry, I'm getting things confused. Talk about how you want your aesthetics and your interface to look. It's obviously better to have concept art for this, which we will go into in a second. And this is just us saying like what themes and what different things we're keeping in style with while we're working on the project, right?
Yeah.
This is a small video that Mika did. You've already seen, hopefully if you've been to a session, the different things that, like the different tools that he uses, the vertical layering, the different things. And this is basically a video where he kind of breaks that down for us. This is more of a presentational thing. In the GDD, ideally, you'll have more like detailed stuff, but this was because, again, we were presenting something in this specific instance. And at the end, we just, have some early concept art, right? I will let you know that the game looks nothing like this right now. This is very early stuff.
Oh God.
Hey. Okay, but yeah, and that's it. I like to end everything with a thank you. But this is a presentation. This is a presentation, and your GDD, you don't need to thank anyone. But yeah, that's our GDD. That's our first GDD.
But even like be as visual as you can. Like if you take anything out of this thing, is have as like be as presentable as you can, right? Because nobody wants to sit there and read like just a Google Doc, right? Especially like this is specifically for if you're submitting a thing for the GA. Make it a nice presentation. Make it nice to go through and to look at, because when the judges are going through the things, they have a lot, like they're going to be reading a lot. Like try to make it visual, try to make it nice for them, try to stand out.
And it generally helps to just have like a visual companion, because a lot of the times you're going to be talking about things that have a visual, right? Even if at the time they don't yet, but when you do have a visual, it's useful for you to have it there. Like in our newer GDD, which is still not super up to date, we have like some like we have a lot more visuals which haven't loaded yet for some reason, but we do have like some pictures of our levels and stuff, we still have the GIFs, because we think that that's a very useful way to like talk about our specific mechanics. You have to find the visual language that works for what you do. A lot of the times GIFs will work, but that really depends on, it's like a case-by-case basis, obviously. But and Mika did this really cool thing. Well, it's okay, it's not. But Mika added like little sounds, so when you click on them, you can actually hear what they sound like. So that's fun. But that's about it for GDDs. There's also pitch decks that Layla will cover more.
I don't think you guys will be able to hear.
Can you hear that?
I'm not sure if the sound is being shared.
Can you hear it? I feel like people are getting...
Hey, listen, man, if you want to hear the sounds, you have to play the game. Sorry.
You're saying this, we haven't sent them. But yeah, another thing that's important to talk about that Layla will go into deeper is pitch decks. It's important to familiarize yourself with what a pitch deck is, which is basically what you're going to be sending to be it publishers or different people that you would like to like pitch your game to. This is just a really important thing, and we're not going to go too much into detail about it, but like,
Basically, the difference, the GDD is there for you and your team to like have a reference for your design. The pitch deck is here to show people who you're showing this to, like, like funders, publishers, any like outside person that is here to like help you. And it's basically, it's just the most important parts of your game, the most important features. And then you you go through like what your budget is and your roadmap.
And even more important for your pitch deck, have a lot of visuals, in my opinion. That's my opinion again, but
Rami talked about pitching in his session, so I really, really highly recommend listening to that session, and I highly recommend going to like being here for Layla's session for command pitching.
Layla's session in like a week or so, very useful. So a lot of Layla's opinions have been have shaped our pitch deck.
It's a legend.
Love this chat.
Legendary workshop.
Very.
Cool.
Oopsies.
Yes, go on.
Oh my God, I did the slide. Sorry. We have 3 Layla workshops, actually, not the one and only.
صح, we do have 3 Layla sessions, that's true. And then we have a game design, session by Soren, which is wonderful as well. So that's cool.
Yeah.
If y'all don't know who Soren Johnson is, lead designer on Civ 4, co-designer on Civ 3, a lot of other games like the new Old World that Leila and Soren have made together, and so many games. You don't want to miss the session with Soren, especially if you like strategy games.
Yeah, 100%. If you're ever thought about making a strategy game, I really, really recommend going to this session.
Yeah, I'm so excited. But yeah, I think that's about. Yeah. Oh, I've lost so much time on Civ.
Yeah, same.
And I can't wait to waste so much time on Old World. Does anybody have any questions?
Me.
Yeah, the workshop is like done. But if y'all want, we can take advantage of this opportunity. I know there, like, if anybody wants to like talk about their game idea, maybe people want to make teams, I don't know. Or we could like do an icebreaker thing, like a game kind of a thing another time with, I don't know, that's up to everybody, obviously. But we could like set up a game night of sorts where we have like, you know, something that will get us all kind of in an ice-breaking mood so that we can see if anybody wants to team up with everybody.
What would you do if two of your friends dip on your last? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Honestly, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's never nice. And like it's happened like a lot. Like last year it happened a lot. And
yeah.
It's bound to happen, you know, like people will be like hesitant to commit to a thing like this. I mean, try to find people to work with you on the Discord, right? You know, go to team formation, say if you already have like an idea for a thing,
yeah,
talk about it in team formation, let people know.
Yeah, maybe some other people are willing to join you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would take it as a kind of not really a blessing, but like as a good thing, because at the end of the day, you would rather people who aren't ready for something like this that's so time consuming to stop before you're too deep into it and it like really ruins your project, right? So try to find another team, you know, and somebody hopefully more committed to the project.
I think Liad, sorry, I had a question, and then Muhammad, I think, had a question as well.
Okay, well, Iyad, why don't you go ahead and send it in the chat, and unless you want to unmute.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. So my question is, I had a friend from Georgia who is the only friend that does game development, and we have like even the same knowledge. And yeah, and when in my first game jam, I was working with him, and then in the last day before like 5 hours of the game jam of the deadline, he ruined everything, and he sent me the project. We were like sending the project as a WinRAR file. We didn't even know plastic SCM or something. Anyways, he ruined everything and sent me, and I don't know if I want to work with him anymore. Should I? Or,
I'm sorry, I didn't really understand what the problem you had was, but
like wait, I think like you should always be comfortable with the person you're working with. So like if you personally you're not to work with this person, then yeah, probably like maybe don't talk about it. Like this is more of a thing between you and him to talk about. But
yeah,
you always want to sort of like be comfortable with whoever you're working with. And
100%.
And like you typically try to like I don't know obviously the details of what happened, but yeah, like that sucks. First of all, like that sucks that your project was ruined. But again, like, try to always mitigate that risk. You know, have separate branches on GitHub, whatever, to make sure that no matter how much people mess up, you always have like a backup.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, try to talk to him. I don't know. I don't really know. Like, this is more of, again, a personal thing.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you have to have fun while you're working on a project. So
Yeah.
if there's somebody that you don't necessarily feel comfortable doing this project with, it is a highly personal thing, because at the end of the day, you're working with somebody on something with, you don't have be it monetary assistance, or like, you're giving your free time into this. So you want to do this in a way that feels right for you. So yeah, I don't know if that helps.
I mean, 6 months is a long time, and you can work with somebody for 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks, and then call a day. But 6 months is quite a long time. So you have to put your enjoyment and your agreement with the people you're working with on there as a priority.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question, you. Thanks.
Hello?
Can I add one more question?
Of course.
Do you necessarily have to work with people that you like? Should you have the same knowledge with the people that you're working with, or could you work with someone who's professional and you're just a beginner? And is that good for the team?
I mean, if you want, I can answer that part as well. Because I mean, taking an example of our group as well, I think the one that has the most experience is definitely Fuad. And we all have like different levels of experience in the game industry per se.
Yeah.
I have way more experience than Sasha and I combined.
We have different areas of expertise.
We have completely different skill sets, which helps, and I think I would say, like, ideally you would be complementary to each other, right? Like, there are some things that Fuad, Mika, and I each like cover on our own, but there's also some places where we overlap, and that's helpful as well. But like, ideally, just try and like make a team where you all fit it with each other.
Like, think about it, like every time, like everywhere in every work environment, people of different skill levels are working with each other, right? Like, you always have like seniors and juniors and like, interns. Like, your skill level doesn't matter. It's more like the more people you have on deck, like, again, it depends on your project and what the project needs. And you should definitely have like people from different backgrounds, like to like help with the different aspects. Like, if your game is very art heavy, you need like a good art person, right? So it's completely fine.
No, for sure.
I think what matters more is that less the experience that people have, is more that they're willing to learn and they're willing to experiment with you. That way you can all learn together and you can just learn from each other, essentially. And I think that's extremely important.
At the end of the day, we're all gonna try. We're all gonna learn through this.
Yeah, true. Thank you for your answer.
Hello. Thank you.
Hamad also had a question about looking for teams earlier, I think, as well.
Yes.
So yes, obviously there's a ways to do it. There's a whole channel, like I said, on Discord to look for teams. You said also that you sent a message and no one got you back. We also gave you the advice on LFT, means looking for a team, which is great. But also, we're gonna have a few activities, some Zoom stuff, some Discord games, just a few activities just to help you guys just get to know yourselves a little better, get to introduce yourselves, get to know who your neighbor is, your Discord neighbor. And really just help you form the teams with people who wants to work with you and people you want to work with. And I think that's the most important thing that we want to focus on this year. It's really just that you will bond with them and just create something cool, That's the whole point.
Yeah, and if you want, we can like set up a poll on the Game Academy Discord, so we can all vote, like everybody who's interested in like doing this icebreaker game night that I think Mika's going to be organizing for y'all. You can vote on the day that works for everybody, so that you can be here and like take this opportunity to meet people that you feel like you vibe with in the right way. It's a vibe.
It's gonna be lit.
It's 2012 again. Well, never mind.
2012.
But
I see.
I don't know. Why am I still sharing my screen?
Because what remains of that?
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions right now, like on the spot, please go for it.
Yeah. Wally, it's like nobody's like really bad at everything. Everything is like learning experience, right? Like I like to say all the time, nobody's like bad at drawing. People are just like under practiced, right? Everything's an acquired skill and takes time to get, but creativity, like everybody has some and everybody's able to like get started somewhere, and you're gonna like, you know, while learning, you get there. And I think the prime example is if you look at our GDD, it was so bad. We had no idea what we were, well, not so bad, but we had no idea what we were doing. It was very bare bones, but you know, through the work, we've gotten better and we've kind of learned how we need to do certain things. So yeah, sorry. I feel like I'm talking a lot.
and if you know like what like your like weaknesses are, try to find other people who you know are good at those specific things. And I don't know, like I guess my advice for like forming teams is, you know, be open to like, because at the end of the day you're forming a team to make a thing together.
Yeah.
Right. So like even if you're here and you already like have your idea and stuff, like still try to be like open to like forming an idea together as a team.
Yeah.
So that everybody, you know, is
on
happy
board.
and like you're all working on something that you all care about, you know.
Firas is asking if we can have like a game pitch channel. If I'm not mistaken, I think the design board is this channel. Is it not?
So we can use the design board, or we can use the team formation channel, depending on what you're trying to pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're trying to idea for feedback, then it's the design board channel. If you're trying to pitch the game for, you know, to get help on working on it, then it's the team formation channel. So it depends.
It could be very useful for the team formation because, like we said, Firas, if you want to pitch your game for the team formation, like specifically for the GA, that's perfect. You can go to the team formation, just say what you want to work on. I'm sure some people will be very interested in working with you, for sure.
Yeah, and I understand some people are a little shy reaching out, but you know, hopefully we can get that ball rolling a little bit.
Doing the first step sometimes helps.
Yeah, and you know, use the homework that you got. Like if you don't have a lot, like a very big portfolio, use the homework that you did for other courses to kind of show off what you're doing. Or just, you know, if you're an artist, share your art on Art2D, Art3D. Just share what you can so people can like, you know, have an idea what you do, what you like, that kind of thing. I know last year, you know, some people reach out to us because we shared some stuff on different places, and that's a good way to do it because you know what you're expecting and you know what kind of like, you know that your interests align in some ways, right? And looking for, like, when you're looking for teams, don't just say, hey, I'm looking for a team. Say I'm somebody who likes X, Y, Z. I'm good at this, that, you know, and this is kind of what I would like to go into.
That's actually a very good point. Introduce yourself a bit, show what you want to do, who you are a bit. That helps a lot.
Yeah, and as you're an artist, you can add your ArtStation or Behance channel. As you're a developer, you can add your itch.io or even GitHub link for, you know, if that helps. Musician, you know, you can add your compositions. As you're a writer, you can just link as you have, for example, I don't know, you write on Reddit or something. I used to write there. So, you know, you can do that, for example. So, you know, share what you do and show people that you know what you're doing. So that you can either, you know, reach out to more people or so that people can reach out to you. You know, that helps.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else they would like to ask?
Did we go over everything?
I feel like we did. I don't know.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some new messages. Well, Rabia, keep in mind our game is not finished and we won last year, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, I think the judges are going to, we can't know for sure because the judges are people after all, but we are going to ask them to take into consideration, you know, how much they feel like you could finish the game, like whether it's in 6 months or like in a year or however. It has to be doable in general. It's not about the time frame, right?
Yeah, like, no, a 6 month is not enough time to do a game. Like even if it's a very, very small game. So like don't worry about like it being fully finished by then, because it's never going to be. Just you have 6 months to work on something to present. But yeah, like what will be judged probably is viability, and like don't come here pitching Skyrim, basically.
Ashraf's favorite advice.
don't pitch Skyrim. Pitch a game that's
Skydome,
exactly. Like a game that's depending on like how many team members you have, like that is viable, that you can possibly do in like a year or two maximum, like, right?
يعني حتى نحن when people last year submitted their game ideas, we looked at the ones that had the highest viability of being done in 6 months, but specifically not the entire game. We wanted to have a vertical slice be finished in a way that it can be pitched for a round of funding, for example, or something of the sort. And we cared more about having people finish a solid part of their game first before continuing in on their own project and all. So make a game idea that's clear and something that can be shown off in 6 months in terms of its core mechanics and stuff. Okay, so Ed is asking, so who works for something for 6 months? We submitted to the Gaming Academy. Is it for teams or just one person? Okay, so the thing we're talking about is submitting a game idea when you're done. So the sessions end, and then you have a chance of submitting your game idea to the judges. So we're going to give you a few weeks to come up with an idea. Then we give the judges a few weeks. Oh, I think Ed's off. You'll watch the recording, it's fine. And then we'll give the judges a few weeks to check out your game. And basically the things we're going to look at are things like viability of your game, the kind of team members that you have. So if, for example, you decided to have a 3D game, but you have a 2D artist on your team, then there's something that's a bit, why would you do that? Just as an example. Obviously a 2D artist can learn and do 3D, but she hik. Or for example, you have somebody that has like 10 years of experience in Epic and Unreal Engine, and you decide to start using Unity or Godot. Why would you take this decision? So play to your strengths, do what you're good at, and choose a project that you think will take you 1 month to finish, because this 1 month will take you 6 months to finish.
100%.
And make something that feels true to you, like to who you are as a person and to who you are as a team, basically.
Well, like you said, 6 months to get, a vertical slice, which is basically a build of your game that has all the most necessary features that you want in your final game. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the content. But try and keep your game small. Don't make the mistake we did, basically. Keep your game small.
We have a big scale problem right now, but that's a story for another time.
So it's a story for us.
Yes, Ed, just to answer Ed's question as well. So essentially, yes, there is a filter. So first, I think we select a couple of games that make it to the finalists, and then at the end, they all get judged by a jury of judges. Wow. And one of them will become quote unquote the winner, and that winner would we would help them publish their game, just try to help them as much as we can to just continue their path, essentially.
But that's basically it. We're really looking forward to seeing what you all pitch. I'm so excited. I really want to be able to play all the games. I don't know if I'll be allowed yet.
I didn't get to play other games. Some looked really cool. I'm like, I want to play those games, but
now
I'm also we're gonna make sure we check up on you guys while we miss the team's build and everything. You guys just see how we're doing. Give you whatever you need. We're here just as supportive roles. We're here as supportive roles when we want to support you. We want to make sure that we're here for you. You got this. It's gonna be great.
Sure. And honestly, whatever questions you need to ask us, right? No, if you have like sound design questions, Mika's your guy. Development, Fufi's here, Ashraf's here for narrative. I'm here for art. We all kind of have different like knowledges of design, you know, like we can be here. Don't hesitate to reach us on Discord, on like any platform, you know, that you can find us on. We're here to help. Is there going to be a lecture for pitching ideas? There is going to be a lecture for pitching ideas. Let me check what day it is exactly so I don't say.
Yeah, so Layla Johnson is going to be giving
I
think a game pitching.
Yeah. There's going to be, Layla is going to be giving 3 very useful lectures. Yeah, Johnson and Johnson. The funny thing, when you're married, you have the same last name sometimes, I guess. Sorry, that's so lame. So Layla's going to have a session on game pitching, which is where she's going to help you like write a good pitch to be able to get some good funding and attract funders. Is also going to have, there's also going to be one about the game industry. And prototyping to marketing. Those are 3 very useful business courses that I recommend you all join. I know I'm going to join with a pen and paper because I want to take all the notes. And there's also going to be a design lecture by another Johnson, by Soren Johnson, not that somebody asked. I'm getting confused. The chat is all Johnsons.
From Johnson and Johnson.
Oh my God.
Fantastic. By the way, for all of you watching on YouTube, we're talking to you as well. You know, like this is not a recorded lecture. This is a podcast to a certain extent. Yeah. We kind of wanted to try something new this time. This is why we decided to have, you know, all of us just talking basically and just chatting about our different experiences. So actually tell us what you think and whether you enjoyed this or not. We wanted to you know, see if this was fun for you guys as well.
Yeah, please do tell us if it was too chaotic and too rambly, because we like just had some like chats about
definitely too rambly.
I'm sorry, that's my fault. I talk so much.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
If this was helpful for you guys, maybe you can have more in the future, like different kind of topics, just more informal stuff. Because I think so far we had a lot of formal workshops, but it'd be a good idea just for you guys to meet us a little bit, you know, just talk general. If you guys also ever feel comfortable putting on that video so we can actually just give the chat, actually talk here, maybe on the actual video and voice. It'd be nice to meet you guys like officially, I guess.
Yeah. If you like, whoever wants, we can kind of like do a Discord after party as well. If you guys still have
you guys are down, that'd be really cool.
If any of you are looking for teams and want to chat, you know, you can do that too. Like, I don't know if any of you feel comfortable doing that right now, but you know, if you don't, that's fine. Obviously, we won't record that. Like, we're not gonna share your like
other recording, and then you can show your faces. And there you go. Because it thinks it's a little different. It's a little different when you see the faces, you talk to the person, you get to see who you're talking to. If you some of you are in the same country, also maybe you can meet up. And you know, these kind of things just to help build your team, essentially.
100%. Yeah, don't say that. That's absolutely not true, and it's not going to affect your team.
Well, yes, no one's ugly, and nothing's going to affect your team. Their physical is not the team. Your attitude, maybe. It's a joke.
I think I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you everyone for attending. For everybody that wants to stay here and chat, فيكم أهلا وسهلا.
Yeah, of course.
On Discord, come in, you know, you can do that. Nobody call themselves ugly, please.
We're all beautiful.
Yeah. وهيك. طيب. So thank you everyone for your time. Well, thank you for attending. We will talk in a bit soon. Yalla. Enjoy the session and we'll see you soon. Bye, friends.
Have a great evening, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Wait, are we stopping the session? I'm confused now.
I mean, everybody's leaving.
Bye.
So,
Bye.